Hello there. This new report from Make UK and Sage is very optimistic about the road to net zero, but it's more than clear that manufacturers believe that it's a journey the government must make with them. I'm joined by Bhavina Bakada from Make UK. Bhavina, this figure of 92% confidence in reaching net zero by 2050 is hugely encouraging in the run-up to COP26. Did it surprise you?
It did surprise me a little bit, but I think we should gain a lot of confidence from this and take this into COP26, but also more crucially, off the back of the year following COP26. So the work that we did was really about trying to understand what manufacturers were doing to not only produce goods and products more sustainably, but actually also operate more sustainably. So actually the really positive figures that we saw were really great news, and that fed through this kind of skills challenge, or not challenge as we saw through the results. What we found was almost 2/3 of manufacturers believe they have the skills they need in their business to make that green transition. And that's fantastic news, because if you can get this right as a sector, government's own estimates suggest that 1.2 million jobs could be created in the manufacturing sector by 2050. And probably more importantly, we can also slash our greenhouse gas emissions, which at the moment counts for 13% of all of UK's total emissions.
Now, is there a particular area of the manufacturing sector where these jobs are going to be created? And indeed, are they additional, or do you think there'll be replacement jobs?
So I think defining green skills and also how they're going to impact jobs is crucial, and it was a key part of the work that we carried out. What we found is that to every job to some extent will be impacted by that green transition. It's just a question of how much. So regardless of which sector you're in or which area of your business you might be operating in, you will be impacted. What we found is the kind of most in-demand skills that will be required fit around innovation, technical skills, and leadership and management. So you can see the broad range of different skills that you'll need and across different businesses. What we mean by those technical skills are resource efficiency, low carbon economy, and the development of new products. Again, really wide ranging, and we'll touch on all different areas of manufacturers' businesses.
So, of course, there is this gap between the confidence level and the extent to which manufacturers actually have people with those skills at the moment. How big is that shortage in numbers terms, if you can quantify it? And is this government investment absolutely crucial? In other words, if the government doesn't invest, is this something where manufacturers are actually putting out a bit of a warning sign?
We saw 1/3 of businesses saying that they're experiencing that green skills gap. So that is significant. And where we're seeing that gap is not where we traditionally seen skills gaps, say at level 3. Where we're seeing them is at 4 and 5. So for normal people speak layman terms, that's just above A level, but just below degree level. So 45% of manufacturers said the green skills they need is at that level. But anyone in this country will tell you that provision at level 4 and 5, when we compare it to, say, countries like Germany, Finland, Denmark, is incredibly low. So what we need to do is to really ramp up provision in those areas. At the moment, businesses don't feel confident that they can access those skills, and less than half said that they think the education and skills can provide that. So what we've called for in our report, and what we're calling on government, is to work with the National Manufacturing Skills Task Force to begin to map out where those skills are, where you'll need them, and how we ramp up provision at that level. One way to do that is to increase the green skills tax credit. It's about encouraging manufacturers to provide and incentivize and prioritize that acquisition of green skills. And it's really taking the carrot over the stick approach, which I think works better with manufacturers than trying to punish them for not taking the necessary steps.
You and Sage have published a set of green skills guiding principles. Can you just walk us through them?
Sure. So there's 4 principles, and they're all set around trying to encourage businesses to really take the first step on this journey. So it's how can you encourage how can you work with your local training partner more closely? How can you begin to identify the skills that you need in your business, and what are the crucial steps you need to take in that journey? It's really trying to encourage businesses to start that conversation, to look critically at the skills that they have in their business, but also to recognize that what you may need now will inevitably change in 3 or 5 years. In fact, because of the pace of technology change, the pace at which you're greenifying, and that our knowledge of greenification is changing, we need really strong leadership and management skills to be able to navigate that change. So what we encourage through the principles is use them as a way to kind of inspire you to make that next step. You won't get it right. No one's going to get it right. But it's about taking that first step and engaging with the training market to be able to deliver those skills.
Bhavina, thanks very much. Now, Rob Sinfield from Sage, to what extent are these twin goals of net zero manufacturing and the accelerated adoption of digital manufacturing technologies by SMEs actually just two sides of the same coin?
It's the access through to the data throughout the manufacturing process that's really going to help this. It's going to be key for manufacturers who are wishing to take or wishing to achieve the net zero target. By adopting the latest technology, these manufacturers will immediately benefit from improved workflow analytics. They'll be able to have end-to-end traceability, and this will ultimately help them to better understand and recognize areas where they can eke out more efficiencies or they can minimize wastage, driving towards those aggressive targets. In short, technology and digital transformation are really required to drive towards the net zero targets that we have, because you need to get that measurable data and those insights to be able to do that.
We know that there's always a gap between ambition and preparedness, readiness to take on new investments, which will be required. What would you say, particularly to SME manufacturers who might be nervous about investing in this net zero target and, of course, about investing in these digital technologies?
So we've done some research, and our research tells us that 96% of small manufacturers, small to medium manufacturers, feel that having a positive societal and environmental impact actually matters to their business. And often the first steps, as you rightly point out, can be very, very daunting. This, balanced with this passion about sustainability, is really critical to driving digital investment. So if we look at what a small to medium manufacturer will have to face, they have to balance between digital investment, business profitability, and expectations, as well as driving improved efficiencies. Those don't always equate to each other for a small business that's under pressure. In a recent report from a group called Sana, 72% of manufacturers that are embracing digital transformation have actually seen improvements in agility and speed to market. So that's incredibly important. Those sorts of statistics are very powerful for these companies that are sort of teetering on the edge whether or not to make that jump. It can really help businesses to identify how they can engage in carbon offsetting. A lot of companies don't realize that there is this opportunity to gain carbon credits by conducting energy audits, reducing and reusing resources, which all drive efficiencies throughout the business. At Sage, we have a sustainability hub where we provide SMEs with expertise and actionable advice on how they can reduce their carbon impact, both from an operational perspective and from an interaction with customers and partners perspective. And this will hopefully allow them to play a key part in creating a sustainable future for us all.
And I think we all agree that's a virtuous goal indeed. Rob Sinfield from Sage and Bhavina Bakada from Make UK, thank you very much. This has been a special report from Manufacturing TV. I'm Nick Peters. Thank you for being with us.